Okay, so we're ready to start preparing the sourdough bread. So you can see how the starter looks. It's very active. Overnight, I mixed it up. The rubber band shows where it started. Right now it's just a little bit above, but you can see on the jar that it rose all the way up to here. So it fully doubled overnight. So that's really quite good. I have measured out 350 grams of warm water, which is approximately a cup and a half, but that's ready to go. And I'm going to go ahead right now and put 100 grams of starter into this bowl. And then we're just going to dilute it into some water because that'll just make it easier to deal with and incorporate. Looks like we're almost there. Okay, that's basically 100 grams. You can see that it's only left a small amount in the jar. So what I'll do to this is I'm not going to use it again for a week, is I'll add 30 grams of flour into here, 30 grams of water, put it in the fridge. And then it'll just kind of go to sleep essentially. So I'm going to take this starter here and just add not all of the water, but a lot of it, and mix it up. It just makes it easier to incorporate it into the flour. And here's our flour mixture. So as we measured this out before, this was there's 500 grams in here. This was 400 grams of white flour and 100 grams of whole wheat flour and 10 grams of salt. I've already added the 10 grams of salt. And I have just kind of mixed this around a little bit just to make sure the flours are evenly mixed around. Okay, and then we're going to pour in our starter. Just make sure we get all of it out of the bowl. And the balance of the water. Okay, so right now, we're just going to mix it up. So we have 500 grams of flour in here. We have 100 grams of active sourdough starter. We have 10 grams of salt. And we're going to mix it all up. The water, I did put warm water in. I'm not going to use cold. I want to give it every opportunity to get it going. And my oven has a proofing setting. So I put my oven, this is the winter right now, so I put my oven on proof, and that will keep this warm. If you don't have that setting, just turn the light on in the oven. That's actually what I did last night for the starter, and it keeps it nice and warm. It actually, I think, keeps the oven even slightly warmer than the proofing setting. So that's perfectly okay if you don't have a proofing setting. Okay, so give this a good mix. And all we're trying to do is just get this together, and then we're going to leave it to rest for about 30 minutes. We're not doing any stretching at this point. We just want to make sure that all of the flour is combined with the starter and the water. Just kind of scrape off the edges a bit, and so we don't have any dry flour lying around. It does look a little kind of dry and shaggy at this point, and that's perfectly okay. Some people will increase the hydration. This is basically a 70% hydration loaf, and I find that's about the right setting, the right hydration for a home loaf. And you can see right now it's pretty well mixed here. So what I'm going to do is just put the lid on it, put it into the proofing oven, and I'm going to leave this now for 30 minutes, and then we'll come back and do our first stretch and fold. Okay, so it's now been 30 minutes, and you can kind of see how the texture of this has changed. So what we're going to do now is start doing our stretch and folds. We're going to do these for 3 hours. So just set yourself a 3-hour timer right now, and every 30 minutes you're going to do a stretch and fold. So it's much easier to wet your hands, or else you're going to get all covered in sticky dough. So I just keep a bowl of water, just dip it in, and just grab the edge and pull it up as high as you can and drop it down. Now you notice that ripped. We don't really want that to rip, so we won't go quite as hard on the next one. There we go. Okay. You can already see the texture changing as I'm doing this. And you can see it even coming together just on this very first stretch and fold. Now some people would just go around one time. I don't think that's enough. I think you want to do it for more. And you can see already, see how that's changing, the strength? It's building the gluten, it's building strength. So sometimes you may have to hold it down as you're doing it, and that will help as you pull. Okay, I think that'll be enough for now. I'll do one more. There we go. And you can see very much that's changed in texture, much smoother now. So we'll come back in 30 minutes. Okay, so this is the second stretch and fold, and you can see the consistency is completely different now. So I'm going to show you this one, and then we're going to go ahead and skip to the final one. But already we've actually got a bubble forming right there. The yeast is definitely waking up. So the purpose of these stretch and folds, once again, we're dipping our hands in the water, and the purpose of these is to add some strength to this dough. Look at that, it's completely different this time. Okay. Now it's coming together completely. Sometimes I'll actually do this type where I pick it up and then drop it down like this. It's a little difficult with this plastic bowl because it's not very heavy if it sticks a bit. There we go. They call this a slap and fold. You're kind of picking it up at the first third like this, dropping it down, and then onto itself. There's a little bit down here that's sticking. We'll go ahead and stick that on. And like I said, I do this more than just one time. I don't just do one set around and then stop, because I want to develop some gluten structure in this. But you can see here, you can see how this dough is already starting to form, and tighten up. And this is just the second set of folds. So it's looking extremely good. Okay, so there we are. And we'll go ahead and do that again in 30 minutes. And we're going to keep doing that for the 3 hours. And we'll come back at the end of the 3 hours. Okay, so it's now been 3 hours of stretch and folds. And the consistency has changed dramatically. You can see there's almost like a shine on the surface. But what we're going to do now is put it onto the work surface. You can do it directly onto your countertop if you like. And I'm going to put some flour on the surface of the dough. And I'm going to put some flour on my board. Quite a bit. Okay, and then we're just going to tip it in. So I'm going to loosen it by just putting my spatula around it. You can actually see it's starting to get a bit of a jiggle to it. So there's definitely air forming inside the dough. And we'll get this out and onto the work surface. Okay. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're just simply going to pull it onto itself like this. You can see the surface has the flour on it. Okay, and then I'm gonna give it a little dusting here and flip it over. And then we're just gonna kind of give it some shaping. You can use a bench scraper here if you like. You can see some tension forming. We're just kind of tucking under and turning, just like that. I'm gonna add a little bit more flour onto the work surface here so it doesn't stick. Doesn't feel sticky right now, but you never know. And we're just gonna kind of do that. You can see some bubbles forming, and then we're just gonna leave it here for 30 minutes. Now, if we haven't done enough of this, it will fall into an absolute flat shape. But what we want is it to flatten with curved edges. So. Okay. Okay, there we go. You can see it's much bigger than it was. Okay, then I'm just going to cover it with a paper towel. And we're going to leave it for 30 minutes. Okay, so after 30 minutes now, we have our loaf. It's got nicely rounded edges on it. And we're going to need to prepare our banneton next. Now, some people will use the cloth that comes with the banneton, and that's totally fine. I think I'm the only person I know who does this, but I use paper towels. And we want to line the banneton with the paper towels and heavily flour the inside. You can use rice flour, plain flour. This is whole wheat flour. Doesn't matter really. You just want to make sure it's well covered so that the dough doesn't stick to the inside. I like to use paper towels because they come off easily. And then we'll go ahead and flour this surface. And what we're going to do right now is flip it over, and then we're going to shape it. So we're going to kind of turn it into a rectangle, and we're going to fold the middle up to the 2/3. We're going to fold this over to that third, and then we're just going to roll it up, creating a bit of tension as we're going along. We don't want to eliminate air. There's a lot of air in here right now. You can really feel it. But we're kind of pulling it back as we're going along, creating tension, rolling it up, and there we are. We've got a nice roll. The ends, I'm not too worried about. You can tuck these over if you like. And then, just kind of give it a bit more tension and give it a good dusting so it doesn't stick in the banneton. And it's rising nicely, you can tell. And then we're just going to place that into the banneton, and we're going to leave that now to rise for about 3 hours. This actually is rising very nicely. The starter is quite strong. But in about 3 hours, this will be ready to knock out and start baking. Okay, so while that is proofing in the banneton, in the proofing oven, we're going to get ready for the end stage. So probably about 30 minutes before we're ready to bake, we need to turn on the oven to 500 degrees Fahrenheit and put in our Dutch oven to preheat. So we'll put it in, and When we're ready to bake, we lower it to 450. So we're baking at 450, but we're starting it out with a lot of heat in the oven. The loaf is going into the Dutch oven. You can use a silicone mat if you like. I actually prefer to use parchment paper because I can lay the parchment paper out, as you'll see, tip out the banneton onto it, and then I can pick it up without really misshaping the loaf too much and drop it into here. Remember, this is going to be 500 degrees, so you can't touch this. It's going to burn your hands. So you've got to take this out of the preheated oven using oven mitts, put it onto the stove that's accustomed to high temperatures, so you're not going to ruin your countertops, and then bring the bread into the Dutch oven, and then using a mitt, put the lid back on. So we'll be putting that back into the oven, which has been turned down to 450. So we're going to bake it with the lid on for 20 minutes, and then we're going to take the lid off